Welcome to Make a Path Presents, and on our tour of shitty TV shows, to the left, I want you to take a look at the most horrendous CGI on the screen. Oh, I'm sorry, it faded there with a little, okay, there we go. Now, the dead zombie is now exposed in all its wonderfully horrific glory of quite possibly some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life. This show is filled with scenes that, on paper, are way too big to be done with the type of budget that the show is doing. Please watch this show on your cell phone or some similar small device, so it's easily missable how shit it looks. Anyhow, I will not be reviewing World Beyond. I know a lot of people were asking me to just talk about the first episode, and here we are. So if you love World Beyond, you're probably not going to like this video because I thought it was absolute shit. It was even worse than season 1. I don't know, because I hated season 1 too, but I'm not sticking through with The Walking Dead just because of what they did in the early seasons of The Walking Dead show, making me a mega fan. I'm not going to just watch all the shit they put out. So since the first half of The Walking Dead, season 11 is out and done now, and they're taking a break, I'm unsubscribing from AMC Plus. I'm backing away. I will not be watching the new season of Fear the Walking Dead, and I will not be watching World Beyond. I only watched it because it was on, and I still have a couple days left on AMC Plus. And I thought, what the hell, we'll give it a try. But every time I get that idea, I'm disappointed. The show, whoever's running the series right now, it's just not geared for a critical eye, in my opinion. It's just not, even for a zombie fan, I don't feel like I'm settling in to watch a horror survival show with all three of them, even with the main series still. I just am thinking, well, how are they ending it for the characters now that it is ending? But I don't get that vibe of a horror survival show. It's like they completely lost the plot, and it's franchise-wide, the sickness. Anyhow, so they start by showing us scenes that we've already seen from, or we already know of what is going on from the season 1 storyline. Different communities being destroyed. They showed us they killed a community of like 100,000 people. Come on. Unless they're building up to a Commonwealth versus CRM, I don't understand the overall point to it, but that's going to be a big reveal that they're going to have to fulfill. They can't come up with some stupid storyline like, oh, well, we didn't want them getting too big and then challenge us for dominance or as a competitor or some stupid shit like that. And that's probably what it's going to end up being because they just seem to pick like the easiest solution. But this episode kicks off with, you guessed it, what is it called? Takesy backsies. They needed to end season 1 on some high note, so they did this whole, they're taking Hope, they're taking her to the CRM community. But then when they started season 2, they're like, oof, I mean, we're not ready for it yet. We need to stall a bit. How do we do that? Well, let's have this girl just drop Hope off, which Hope is supposed to be super important. They kill tens of thousands of people. Now keep this in mind. Keep this in perspective. They need to utilize the best of the best. They kill tens of thousands of people, but they keep Hope alive, and they specifically recruit her because they believe that she's a genius and she can continue some scientific work. That's the whole purpose, unless I'm missing something here. But what do they do to kick this episode off? They drop her off on top of a hilltop in the middle of a skyscraper in the middle of a city, and they're like, okay, go survive on your own. And if you want to come with us, then this is your test. You can either go try to survive on your own, which you'll most likely die, or you could come back to us and we'll take you to see your father. We'll give you food, shelter, a comfortable place to live. All right, 2 things. 1, how is that even a test? Like, what? What? And two, this is supposed to be the smart person that you plucked out of this community specifically to utilize for her intelligence. And what does she do? She leaves. She walks away and she's like, I'll survive on my own. You know, I'm a strong female character. She makes it all of 10 feet, trips, falls, bumps her head, and then hallucinates. That's the show, people. She bumps her head and hallucinates some shit. There we go. The genius. Bumped her noggin.
Who came out alive.
Anyhow,
When everything fell apart.
I will say though, I think her, what's her name? Is it Julian Desmond, something like that? She was in a movie I remember, Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt. That was a pretty badass movie. I dig that. Just depression porn. You know, everyone has a bad ending in that movie. I love it. Anyway, no, she was young and hot in that too. Check that one out. Anyhow, so they let her go and she goes off on this thing. Meanwhile, the other group is finding housing in a random group of like artists, create this like random group of shelter. And she also, this Olivia, no, is that her name? She also tests her daughter. Now keep in mind, Hope is supposed to be like this big project, the package that her daughter needs to keep safe and secure and transport her through hostile lands. And then she tests her daughter to see if her daughter's still with the program by seeing if her daughter will like go after her. Talk about mixed signals here. If your job was to protect this Hope, would you not feel like maybe you're kind of being put under the test here? Like, are you really, really with it? Like, why wouldn't she go after her to keep her safe and then talk her into coming back? None of this makes any sense at all. Not a lick of sense. So we could probably skip a lot because there's a whole bunch of talking about just doing stuff. People ask ridiculous questions like, why, what do you fight for? You know, what do you live for? Come on. But then again, they're artists. And people are having nightmares. People are hallucinating. I'm serious. I don't think there's anything even more. There's something I do want to get to, though. Now, she has this moment. And she's going to go back. And she's like, oh, I'm ready. They get to the base where she's going to meet her father. She's now has no choice but to work with this big community now.
Did I pass your test?
I pass your test? Well, there's only two choices. Go and die or come back. One great test, people. Great test.
Can I see my dad now?
Now, one of the absolute worst moments is here. Again, I need to point out, Hope is supposed to be the intelligent person that they plucked out of the community. This was my favorite part. That line right there. You fucking dumbass. I just told you why. You stupid bitch. Like, we should have left you in that building to die. You ungrateful, dumb as dog shit, stupid bitch. This is because Hope says the dumbest fucking thing you can say in this moment. Not only does she give away her plan to the enemy, this girl betrayed you, pretend she was somebody else. She's still your enemy in her eyes, in Hope's eyes. This person is the enemy. They're all the enemy. And she's never going to get in line. She'll never fall in line. But is she thinking up here, keeping that close to the chest, keeping those cards close to the chest, playing like 3D chess, you know, keeping it safe? Not leaking that information to the enemy that you'll never work with them. Nope. She sits down face to face with the enemy, looks her dead in the eyes, and she's like, I'm never working with you, no matter what you do. No wonder why in the trailer teases that they shoot the father. Because it's like, well, if you're never going to work with us, how about now, you stupid asshole?
Can I tell your mother how bad her daughter screwed up her mission? Why shouldn't I screw with your life just the way you did with mine?
I just told you why, you stupid bitch. Like, what are you talking about? I just told you why. Maybe we need to rewind it so you can understand it, but...
For your own ass.
That's not what this about?
Why should I tell your...
Well, I forgot her name. Huck.
I don't know what happens. But I know we've killed people for less.
You really think I'm an idiot, huh?
Yes, I do. I think you're dumb as fuck.
You're just trying to cover your own ass.
All right, it's back further. I think the Huck was like,
Why? What happens if they do?
CRM finds out you decoded their intel. That you all knew that I had orders to take out Iris and Felix, if that's what it took. And then I let them live knowing that.
yeah, this is the part. You get it all? She decoded this from season 1. She decoded the intel. She knows about the mission. She knows that this person let them live.
I don't know what happens.
We killed people for less.
I know we've killed people for less.
We kill people for less. And then what does this genius do? Why shouldn't I tell them how bad you screwed up, bro? I gotta watch that line again. It's like meta writing. It's like when they realize their own
You
writing
think I'm an idiot, huh?
is so stupid, they insult themselves because they're channeling it through this character.
You're just trying to cover your own ass.
That's not what this...
Oh, wait, I love that
Why
moment.
should I tell your mother how bad her daughter screwed up?
I gotta stop it though because they'll take the video down, but just peep her expression and even the line delivery. Realize everything that's going on. And this is supposed to be the smart character, the very intelligent character.
Permission. Why shouldn't I screw with your life just the way you did with mine?
Just told you why.
I'm like, what? Like, what? I just told you, you stupid bitch. Like, they'll kill us. They'll kill us all. What are you talking about? They'll kill your dad. They'll kill you. They'll probably kill you in front of your dad. And you're like, I mean, maybe they'll leave your dad alive and get the project done. But what are you talking about, you asshole? Anyhow, she goes on to, you'll just have to take my word for it if you didn't watch it. But she goes on, I think it's right here, to tell them, I'll never fall in line.
I knew I wasn't gonna make it back there.
Yeah, right here. I knew I wasn't going to make it back there. Everybody knew you weren't going to make it in a city full of zombies. You weigh 85 pounds when you're holding 20 pounds and soaking wet.
You were just my ticket out.
She's telling this to the enemy, by the way. She's unloading all this to the enemy. Not a clever way to have the character express it so the audience picks it up. Nope, the writers are like, well, we need to express this so the audience knows what's going on, but she's in an enemy encampment and everybody around is her enemy. So how do we have this happen? Why doesn't she just tell Huck? Well, Huck's her enemy. So, what's your point? Huck is like eventually going to turn on her mother. We know it's coming, so why? Because Hope doesn't know that at this point. Does she sees her as the enemy? Why would she fucking tell the enemy that she'll never work with them? They were just the ticket out of there. Anyhow, this girl, which this is part of the problem, and I'm gonna upset some people because we're a PC culture, which that's a funny term. Because PC was always meant for, and that's politically correct, was always meant for politicians. It was always supposed to be a jab because real people aren't PC. We're not politically correct. PC was, and that's how you know you can't even trust normal citizens. when you see like even half the country or more than half, oh, I hope to God not, when you see a good chunk of the community become PC, you know you're in fucking trouble. Because what do we know about politicians? They are fake and so full of shit, all of them. Now, I understand. You gotta be, to a certain extent, when you're doing your family pictures and everything's clean and crisp and clean suits and, the kids are all laughing, all the wife is, everything's, jewelry's all, hair's all done, did it, and you got everything going on, everything looks, it's like, it's idyllic, it's the perfect family, and they say just the right things, they answer questions, there's always polite. That's why we call it PC, because a politician isn't going to be like, whoa, that's one ugly fucking baby, It's not, you're going to be PC. You're not going to sit here and be like, well, I find it hard to believe that this young, eloquent young lady, I find it hard to believe that she would be able to survive in the zombie apocalypse and fight trained soldiers on her own in hand-to-hand combat, because she is still, what's the word I'm looking for? She is, overweight, young, female. No, she is, I had a good word for it too. It was like a nice way to say she's unseasoned. She's, she's not a veteran. So she's not a veteran soldier or fighter. She's a little green, a little new, to fighting and combat. But nope, at least they have her turn into Daryl Dixon and she gets a crossbow. She goes up to soldiers at this point, sneaking up to a compound. Again, I think they know it would be ridiculous for her to just start taking out soldiers. Just because you want, you get, her worldview got shattered. And she realizes it's not the zombies that took out the community. That's what they were saying. That's the lie they tried to say. It was the CRM. So then when she says it wasn't empties, it was you. And I think that might be a hallucination in the trailer. The trailer, they pulled down the zombie face and it was the CRM mask. And I made fun of it. And I was like, how are they even going to use, how does that even work? How do you see out of that? Here it's going to be a dream because they did it in this episode where she pulls, in her dream, she pulls the face off and I pull my nose ring out. She pulls the face off and she pulls reveals the CRM mask. Now, so that'll likely be a dream in the future as well. But in here, she sneaks up to this compound. Her worldview is shattered. Just because your heart has been darkened in a way and you recognize these people are fully the enemy and you're out for blood, it does not turn you into Rambo physically. Doesn't make you good at tracking, hunting, hiding, sneaking, crawling, ducking, dodging. Doesn't make you good at any of that. You still will have to train and yada, yada, yada. I have a feeling that this is going to be like that sloppy kill. And then the next one will be a little cleaner. And then like 2 kills from now, she's going to be a pro. Just, Rambo bandana around her head. She's just butchering everybody. And it's going to look absolutely silly and ridiculous. And I'm not going to buy it at all. I mean, I'm not going to watch it at all, but we'll see what happens. So she steps on a twig. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say it. It was a log. God damn, shut up. So she steps on his log and it shatters. And the CRM guy is like, what's over there? He's got a flashlight. He's probably got fucking night vision. I mean, these motherfuckers are like the military. They're loaded up. She's got a crossbow and some hope, in a bad attitude. And then, luckily, a ninja zombie in the woods appears to save the day. Now, do you hear the ninja zombie walking around in the woods? It's the woods. There's sticks. There's leaves. She just stepped on a stick and you would hear them shuffling 10, 20, 30 feet away. I mean, it's going to be a big alarm system if a zombie's shuffling through some twigs and branches. Forget the stuff on the ground. That son of a bitch is just having his flesh ripped off by all the branches. He's just walking straight through all that shit. But no. You don't even hear the ground No, not a leaf, not a nothing, not a single footstep. This ninja zombie just comes out of nowhere. And it's perfect timing. It allows her to take her shot. She takes aim with a weapon I don't think we've ever seen her even use before, ever train. And I've shot a compact bow, an actual old style bow, a crossbow, and my first shot was laughable. I remember the first time using an actual bow, and I was like this, ready, gonna go. I was still, I was young. I was like 13, 14 maybe. And I remember I went like, okay, I'm gonna shoot it, and I went to pull it back, and I went like this. You know, you don't realize there's a lot of tension there. I mean, you gotta know what you're doing when you first pick those bitches up. Crossbow might be a little different. I don't know. There's a lever pulled back. I'm pretty sure the one I used, it's going back a minute now. It wasn't even a real good one either. Just a little pisser that I got off a friend and we were shooting with. But there was this lever thing, you pulled it back. I'm assuming. So she shoots him and gets him right in the shoulder. At least it's something. So they still have to put in some effort. It would have just been better if it was right up through the neck. He's barely hanging on, struggling, but then they can't give her those badass points for running up and tackling him. Did I show her? So he's ready to go. He's got a bolt in him, and he's, stabs this zombie. He pulled that right out like a boss. She doesn't load another bolt. I mean, honestly, he pulled that out, and he should be getting shot with another bolt. And then they continue on to this. They don't show her running up to tackling them. Why? Because visually it'll look ridiculous. I'll just say it. That's why it's not in the show. It'll look fucking ridiculous, and you'd laugh at it. So she gun butts him with a crossbow, and then they get into a little struggle, which she wins. She wins somehow. Yeah, a trained soldier, he doesn't go to any secondary weapon. She does. I don't know. There's no fucking way. There's no way. Even with a wound in him, there's no way. If they would have had it where she gun butt him and then pulled out the knife and stabbed him, I'd be like, yeah, they set that up to be pretty easy. But he's straight on like wrestling with her, and he has a hold of her arm with the knife, and they're doing this weird little dance stuff where they're pushing like, oh, it's so tough. And then she finally hits her hand and stabs him. I think it's fucking trash. But she kills him. She gets her first victim. And this is where she said, it wasn't empties, it was you. I forget now. Okay. Okay, they both were adopted daughters, right? Yeah, I forget how that is now. I think they're both adopted, but they were like buddies in the adoption agency, some shit like that. Because for a minute there, I was thinking maybe she was the adopted daughter, and then I was like, well, why wouldn't they have like the biological daughter and then I don't know. Maybe it was a good... You guys can fill me in on that. I forget now. Yeah, here's the moment. This is calling back to her dream in the beginning of the episode where she's pulling the zombie face off, and it is part of the CRM mask, and she realizes it wasn't empties, it was you. And she's a badass now. So she's killing him. Oh, I really don't care. I think this show is trash. And again, that was just That was an hour worth of
That's what you get.
psych. We're going to take you to the place. Go and die or come back and live. That's your test. And the other group is like, oh, ho-hum, we're figuring out coordinates. We're staying with this random group of people that this guy knows from, living out here on the land. And they're all within walking distance of the CRM. So the CRM is a massive community that's big enough to wipe out communities that are in the tens of thousands of survivors. I think the one community their community had 10, 20, was it, 1,000 survivors? And then that Omaha, didn't that say they had 90 or 100,000 survivors in it? Did I miss that or misinterpret that? The one community they destroyed in the beginning had 90,000 survivors in it. 90,000. That's the CRM. They have these communities and these research facilities, yet they don't send out just recon groups to see if there's any groups settling nearby that may one day mount an attack of some type. I mean, you would think it would be small groups going out just surveying the area. This girl walked here, not a horse, not a this, not a that. She's in walking distance of this research community. Again, unless I missed it and it's like an outpost, but I doubt it. You guys leave your thoughts and opinions down below. This is the one and only, most likely, World Beyond review I'm going to do of season 2. I absolutely refuse to support a show that, again, it's not written for my taste. And if that's what they're going for, though, if they're like, nope, this is the direction we want to go, then fine. Enjoy your, 300,000 viewers. That's fine. I strongly believe if they were bringing the fire, and again, the survival horror genre, that community, the zombie fans, if you were bringing the fire, you wouldn't be under 1 million. I don't buy that at all. I think even with the separation of different platforms and people bootlegging and all that, if you were bringing the fire, I don't believe you'd be under 1 million. I don't believe that one bit. Anyhow, you guys leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.